Saturday night at Noche UFC, Jared Gordon made the walk. He was a 2-1 favorite. He was walking into that octagon, and I was there in person. We looked up at the screen to see the walk, and we said, what is on this guy's knee? He had a random knee brace, a blue knee pad. And I'm pointing that out because it didn't match his outfit. It very clearly seemed out of place. He goes in there, fights, not necessarily to his full potential, ultimately gets finished. Only for us to find out when I leave the arena trying to get my cab back to the hotel, I see Bilal Muhammad tweeted, Jared Gordon was hit by a car last night. He's so tough for showing up. This dude was hit by a car and decided to fight the next day anyway. So the question becomes, why? Why did he decide to fight? Was it for us, the fans? Was it because that's the only way he gets paid? My name's Angelo. This is Josh Thompson. Welcome to Bad Takes. We're going to talk about what the hell happened with Jared Gordon and why fighters fight injured. Joshua, you got a shit ton of fights back in the 80s. When you fought, I imagine there was always, this hurts a little, that hurts a little. But have you ever fought with a major injury?
Yeah, my third Gilbert fight, I actually tore my PCL the week before. Gray Maynard threw an inside kick. I went to inside check it. Boom, tore the PCL on the backside of my knee. So my knee was doing this back and forth. So I wore knee braces on both. California had
why both? So they don't know what the
just
problem
so they
is?
don't know which knee it was because some idiot, and him will remain nameless. His name is Fight Oracle on Instagram. He actually was what do they call him?
He got banned for a while, and I think he's back now. He was the dude with the John McClane profile picture, right? Back in the day.
I believe so, yeah. But they used to call him something else. I don't know what it was. But anyways, Fight Oracle. Anyways, I'm going to remain nameless, but people know Fight Oracle. Anyways,
Wait, you know his real name?
Yeah, I do know his real name.
Oh, I don't know. He lives in Austin or something, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
Because I saw his tweets got political randomly 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know who it is. Go ahead.
Every time I see him, he talks a lot about the stock market. He does a lot about that. He talks a lot about that, but he also talks a lot about, MMA media. And he used to do some work for MMA media. He used to work for some of the promotions and stuff. He does a little behind the scenes anyways, all of that. He decided literally after someone from my gym from AK leaked it to him somehow, some way. And then he basically put it out the week of. I'm like, you. And so I actually was like, hey, when I fucking find you and I see you, I'm going to kill you. And literally the week, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after I fought Gil. It was, obviously a split decision loss. I lost by a split decision in that fight. Good fight overall. But I ran into him at a UFC event. And he comes running up to me. Hey, man, I'm so sorry. I was just bored. And I was like, I didn't know what he looked like or who he was and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we kind of squashed the beef a little bit. Hey, but you have to remember, you could have said something after the fight. You could have waited.
So Bilal did? Bilal waited?
Yeah, that's my point, is people were so quick to want to get that news out. Eric Hawani lost his job with UFC because he decided to talk about the Brock Lesnar news. There's just certain times where hey, let's try to avoid letting this out until the fight is being walked to the cage, or when they're about to announce the winner. This and that. You can go ahead and drop that news at that moment. And he did it the week of, and I knew right off the bat. You could tell when I stepped out there and fought Gil, he literally went right to the inside leg kicks right away. So I was super frustrated with that whole situation. But, overall the fight, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And knee held up. It was good. I actually thought I won the fight. Most people thought I won the fight. Regardless, Jared Gordon, savage, stud. What are you going to do? You're already there in Vegas. You already made the weight. You're ready to go. The knee's bothering you a little bit. You iced it all night. I mean, there's been multiple times where when I fought Dwayne Ludwig, literally the morning of, 4 a.m, I woke up fucking sick as a dog. Green shit coming out of my nose, fucking coughing, couldn't go back to sleep. Josh Koscheck, I fought him in Fresno, lives in Fresno, or used to live in Fresno, brought me all this, NyQuil or Dayquil, brought me Dayquil, brought me a nasal thing. I was trying to do it all, ended up having a great performance. But just gotta work through it. Those difficult times make you a stronger fighter. It sucks, but you got to learn to work through it. I thought he fought great. Up until the point where, he got finished. I thought, for someone, I didn't know his knee was injured, but this is a big deal, man. He was strong enough to get in there, fight, deliver what he could, and worked around whatever, and he got paid. And look, insurance, if there is something torn, insurance will cover it.
Yes, and he definitely has. He's definitely had adversity in his life, so he's unbelievably mentally strong. So, couple quick pieces here. One, what literally happened. So we say he was hit by a car. What literally happened was he was walking through the parking lot well after the weigh-ins. This is Friday night. He's walking through the parking lot of the hotel. A car just backs out of his spot without looking. The car goes over his foot, and he just natural reaction. You go to pull your leg, like oh, and the tire was still on his foot. And he goes to pull his leg, so it just pops his knee because his foot stayed where it was and his body pulled it out. And then he spent the entire night icing it, the entire next day icing it, went out there, fought anyway. But if I look at it a little differently, like, yeah, of course, unbelievably tough. How could, yeah, of course. But the question is, like, why did he fight? And did he fight because, oh, the love of the game? Or did he fight because, no, he fought for the money. And the UFC pay structure, you only get paid if you show up. And a situation like this, way out of his control. Way out of his control. He got hit by a car. Way out of his control. What's he supposed to do? If he pulls out of the fight, he literally gets $0. The contractual obligation is $0 to him. Maybe the UFC would do him a favor, like, yeah, you got hit by a car. We owe you. Here you go. Like, good luck. But it is a tricky spot. And you and I did a whole video breaking down fighter pay and stuff like that. And this is an interesting one because my suggestion for fighter pay was like a $50,000 base salary. 1 year, like year-to-year contract, $50,000 so you can live your life. Then you get paid, a different chunk of money to show up. Another chunk if you win, another chunk if you win by finish. And that's how you can really, do more. So a guy like Jared Gordon, let's say he was on this $50,000 base salary. I don't know if he would have showed up. I think he showed up because I need this money. To your point, I'm here. We flew down from New York. My whole camp is here. I paid for this. I paid for that. I came out of pocket. I am here. I need to fight because I need the money. And it was a kind of a tough spot because now he lost. He got finished. So it's not like he had insane momentum, but you could do permanent damage to your record and your career trajectory by fighting when you shouldn't be fighting. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, you can do all those damages. He's 38 years old?
Yeah, he's not a spring chicken.
Yeah. Look, you got to grab as much money as you possibly can on the way out the door. That's the best I can say. Like there's that your time is limited. The sad part is, and I went back and I've talked to John about this, Big John about this. I've talked to even family. I've even talked to my wife about this. Is I wish I would have fought more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, I just knew I left so much money on the table, like waiting for that number 1, number 2 contender spot, waiting for that title shot when I shouldn't have. Because then you mix those times up along with all the injuries that I fucking had. Shit. I mean, I probably dropped at least 2 years of my career. I would say at least I lost 2 years of my career just by not being active. That's why I give so much credit to guys like Donald Cerrone. Guys that were like, yep, sign me up. I'm ready to fight. Alexander Hernandez, what he just did was fucking phenomenal. Absolutely insane to see and then get the win. Like the UFC is just chomping at the bit to get guys like that. Guys that are like, look, I just fought. I'm ready to go again. I had a good fight coming off a great win. And that is what people don't realize how difficult that is. That's hard to we spent 6 to 8 weeks trying to peak one night. He literally peaked. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, I'm going to peak again. It's so difficult to time it and not probably being used to timing it within a 3-week period. He did it. So good for him. Great win. Good on him. Jared Gordon, though, there's so many reasons on why he fought. He fought because he probably spent a lot of money on his camp. People don't realize that camps cost you anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000 on the low. That is on the low. Like you also most of the trainers don't get paid unless you fight. So you feel bad. Like, look, my team is also dependent on me to pay them so they can make money to feed their family as well. You're literally the guy at the top. You're the employer. You're employing your manager. You're employing your boxing coach, kickboxing coach, your wrestling coach, jiu-jitsu coach. You're their employer. They make money from you. So the trickle-down effect works in this system, but it only works if you fight. And so that's the situation I think he put the pressure on himself in that situation going, look, I got to not just pay myself back because I probably spend anywhere between, 8 to 12, 15 grand for the camp. But then on top of it, these people are relying on me to pay. Like I got to they did all the work. We went through, the camp was great, everything. And then I just got this unfortunate, but I got to still fight. And I also believe the UFC will take that in consideration. Going, look, you didn't pull out of the fight, and you're ready to fight now, and you went in there and you did it. It wasn't a horrible outside. You did lose, but it wasn't a horrible performance. It wasn't like disgusting. You went out there and fought your ass off, and we appreciate that. So I'm not saying they're going to do him any great solids, but they're going to take that in consideration. They're not going to cut him. They're not going to release him. They may give him a fight that he potentially can win next time, and who knows? Does he need surgery? He will go get an MRI. This is all now covered. Anything that happened, yeah, sure, it happened the night before. You look like you're about to ask something.
I was. But
What were you going to ask?
So this is also a broader discussion. We're talking very specifically about Jared Gordon, but I managed fighters for a long time, and you know the game. For most people, I don't know modern era UFC, but for most people, the insurance is only covering what happens like at the fight. On fight night. So fighters will fight injured and they'll have problems, but they don't have insurance because being a fighter and paying for insurance out of pocket is not affordable. So they'll fight injured. And then after the fight is over, you get a form by the athletic commission, like what hurts. And they're just writing down every injury they've had for the last 3 years. My shoulder hurts. My knee, I hurt my knee. They could win the fight in a 30-second knockout, one punch thrown. I twisted my knee. My left shoulder hurts, and these 5 other things hurt. Because now it's covered. Because it happened in the fight, it's covered. So there is and I don't think, obviously, Jared Gordon doesn't fall in this category because he got hit by a car the night before, but there is a broader discussion about, in general, fighting hurt because they don't have normal insurance. So now they're stuck sort of claiming injuries that they probably sustained far earlier. Hey, if I just get to the cage, that knee surgery will be paid for.
Okay, that's not true either. It was true back in the day, probably when you were managing about 35 years ago. But it's not true. 36 years ago. Okay, gotcha. I'm glad you clarified that. It really is what happened. UFC, if you're in the UFC, they offer you now an everyday insurance, but it's $1,500 deductible every single time. So
that's a lot.
It is, but you're not going there for a fucking nose.
Yeah, it's for a major blown out knee.
You're going there for if you're in training, they offer you a medical insurance. If I tore my knee in training, if I broke my ankle in training, if you tore something, if you broke your hand in training, it's covered. It's $1,500. They cover everything else 100%. 100%. Not like
so it's only $1,500. Well, so
only
if you go to a doctor's office because you have the flu, you're paying that out of pocket. Yep. That'll never be $1,500, but that might cost you $200-$300.
Yeah.
But if you need major reconstructive surgery, it's $1,500. The rest
period.
Is covered.
Nothing else. You're not paying 80%, and then I'm getting the residual on the back end of the bill. You're not doing that. This insurance is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
For major stuff, that is.
Yeah. Absolutely. $1,500? Hell yeah. If I broke my nose and I had to have my nose reset and then whatever, if any of that stuff, broken ankle, broken foot, broken hand, all of those things are covered 100%. If you get stitches, if you get cut, it's fucking like $6,000-$7,000.
Is it really?
Yeah. I got this little tiny cut on the side of my head during training. My buddy threw the hook, missed and cut me with the elbow. And I was wearing headgear. It just hit right above the headgear though. And he cut me. I had to get 7 stitches. It was fucking $2,900. I paid the $1,500. They covered everything.
Could have gone to a vet. A vet would have done it for like $200.
Yeah, we all, but for us, the majority of us would just go super glue, but it actually had split in a different way. So they had to stitch it, and then it kind of started to get like a jagged edge. So the doctor was like, "Yeah, good thing you came in and just do it with super glue, because it would have probably just opened up anytime someone would have bumped it." But regardless,
I was saying, do you think, let's say the fighter pay situation was different, it wasn't show win, and Jared was compensated for everything up until that point, do you think he still fights?
No. Why take a chance? Yeah, and that's always my argument with you. That was always my argument with you when you brought that up to me. You saw that a lot too in one championship. They paid you guys, they pay people a monthly stipend to be on the roster, and then what they do is they just hold you captive, and they don't ever fight you. So you're not actually getting any better. That is one. Two is your name's not being out there. You're not blowing up and making stars. They just want to use you when they want to use you, and they want to say they have you on the roster so they can collect more money from their investors. I've got the Ruotola brothers. Oh, I've got Marcus Buchecha. Oh, I've got, Eddie Alvarez. I've got Demetrius Johnson. They basically take your name and they go out there and they gather money from their investors, because I've got a former, UFC world champion, 2 of them, I've got all these other guys that we have that are big names, people that are, they're stars. that gives me more money for my investors. The longer I can keep you on the roster, the more money I can collect from these investors that have no idea. They have no idea what's really going on, and they don't figure it out until it's too late, till they're already, $100 million in the hole. So I don't think that that format works. Now, I know that works better for the fighters, but
Yeah.
in terms like this bit, if you ever want this business to work, it's got to be, it will never be 50-50 because the promotion's taking all the risk. The fighter is taking risk as well, but the promotion is taking all the risk, and the fighters need to come in and perform. So it's going to be somewhere always around 70-30, 60-40 at the most, probably 60-40, but it'll never be 50-50 like the NBA. The
Oh,
NBA,
you're talking about overall revenue split.
yeah, overall revenue, it'll never be that. Never, because they have to go every venue. And on top of that, it's not a season. It's fucking year round. And there's a show almost every week. So I don't see that ever happening where people get a monthly stipend in the UFC. You fight, you make money. And the money's gone up. I mean, shit, I was literally 2 years removed. Had I been able to have success 2 years before, shit. Not only would my social media be a lot bigger because social media wasn't that big until like 2 years after I'd started having my downfall. But then on top of it, the money rose during that time as well, because that gave now the platform for the UFC and promotions to understand this guy's got a following. I can see by his social media, he's got 80,000, 100,000. He's got 500,000. He's got a following already. So I don't have to put as much money into him. And all it does is blow him up even more when I do. So, and it just comes back to them full circle. So I don't think Jared Gordon would have fought. And I wouldn't have, if I was his manager, I wouldn't have suggested he fought if he got a flat fee. If he got that flat fee of like a monthly stipend of, say $8,000 a month to live on, I don't think he would have fought. He shouldn't have fought.
Which is a tricky situation because so he did fight and he ended up losing. He lost by finish. To your point, he's a little older. While that is devastating, of course, it's not like he didn't lose his number one contender spot, right?
Yeah.
But he could have done very real permanent damage, right? He could have, like, you step on it wrong, you do something. Now it's like you'll never fight again because you were already compromised. You did this activity that you shouldn't have done. So kind of a tough spot. But if we now look at it from a different angle, gamblers are furious, right? Gamblers, I bet on you assuming you're healthy. You're not healthy. This is the problem. This happened years ago with TJ Dillashaw. When he fought Aljo and his shoulder was just popping out. And then he does the interview and he's like, yeah, it's been popping out all camp. What? What do you mean it's been popping? What? There's an assumption that you are healthy and it's unreasonable for you to go in there and not be healthy. And the fighters owe the gamblers nothing. I stand by that firmly. You don't owe anybody anything. It's you, it's your career, it's your life. If people choose to bet on you or against you, that's their choice. You don't owe people anything. But
we're just mad we we're just mad we didn't know. So
and that's where I'm going with this.
We're mad about.
Somebody knew because the line at the last minute went pew. The line collapsed at the last minute. So somebody knew. And the word got out and people were betting like crazy. Now, last time this happened, James Krause, has he actually been arrested? I don't think he's been arrested. He's being investigated, and he's been like fined and he blackballed from the UFC, doesn't exist, all these other things. Like his career was destroyed because his fighter went into a fight with an injured knee, and they gambled on it, and then he tipped off he has his own Discord community, he tipped them off, and then everybody gambled on it. The odds went crazy, and then it did this huge investigation. Similar situation here where the odds went crazy, but I don't think it was this, I don't think it was nefarious. When James Krause did it, he literally was selling information to people. This was the dude was hit by a car and people talk about it. Friends tell friends, people talk about it. And then if they choose to gamble, they choose to gamble. So I don't think there's going to be any like big issue coming out of this. But it's a wild situation, and I know gamblers are furious, and I saw people tweeting, you should notify. That's not how that works. And fighters owe regular people gambling on them literally nothing. Yeah. And this isn't the NFL where you can just put somebody on, injury reserve?
Yeah, IR.
Yeah, so you there isn't that either. So it's like, you either fight or you don't fight. And if you don't fight, you don't get paid. If you do fight, you risk permanent damage and certainly a loss. And it's kind of a shit spot for fighters to be in when they're injured come fight night.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to take it a step further. There was a live stream going on with Aiden Ross over the weekend for the Crawford and
Yes.
Canelo fight. Same type of situation. He gets a last minute call while he's on a live stream and goes, "Hey, I'm switching my bet. $1 million over to Bud Crawford. I'm taking it off Canelo, put it on Bud Crawford." What does he do? He takes that 1 million, puts it on. Obviously, we saw how the fight went. Something must have been leaked. Somebody must have known something. Canelo
Because
had no.
he even said, "I'll tell you off stream" to his
Yeah.
friend. Meaning it's not just like, oh, my buddy knows fights pretty well and he's convinced Bud's gonna win. No, he heard something very specific.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the fix is in. I mean, as people will start saying the fix is in. Like, where are we going with this? Look, the only thing that makes me believe in this situation in the boxing world is there was an automatic rematch clause in that. Bud Crawford, yeah, there's an automatic rematch clause in that.
Oh, so they're running it back.
I would say 99% of the time they're going to run this fight back, and Bud Crawford and him, Bud's going to make a lot more money. He won't be the A side still. Canelo's still the bigger draw. Will always be the bigger draw. Whole country behind.
But he's
him.
the champ. Isn't the champ the A side?
Yeah, no, he'll be called the A side. He'll come out second.
His name will be
but
first.
When it comes, but when it comes down to who's the biggest draw, it's still going to be Canelo. Get the whole country behind him. Mexican fighters.
But you picked Bud Crawford to win. You said he was going to win. But you think it was. Are you actually saying the fix is in, or that's just a phrase?
No. I could see, like, if something was wrong with Canelo knows that Crawford is a guy that will say, "Hey, I'll fight you again because I'm the bigger name. And if it doesn't do you any harm, if you did really just beat me, you'll fight me again." And the way that they were afterwards, it almost feels like something was they both knew, like, "Hey, look, I am kind of injured. I'm going to fight this fight, but I would like it
too big not to. Literally the biggest event in history.
Do this fight again. And it was a good fight. It was good. There was moments on both sides, but I mean, obviously Crawford got a lot more of the moments. But I mean, to see that happen, Aiden Ross goes on live stream, says, "I can change. I'm going to change $1 million." Wasn't like, "Hey, I bet 20 grand. Hey, I threw down 40 grand. No, you changed a $1 million bet
off a phone call.
Yes.
Yeah. So you heard something very specific on that phone call.
Yeah. So whatever it was, all of a sudden, and I mean, I want to know how that changed the lines off of his, because he's got a huge following. Aiden Ross.
Yeah, if people tailed,
if people, kind of started tilting the odds that way, anyways, and they did it within like right before the fight. He changed it over, made his phone call. Hey, I want to make that switch. Boom, 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 changed it. $1 million. That's a quick turnaround, like
on a plus 180 dog or whatever,
yeah.
plus 150 dog, something like that. Like that's big money on an underdog. So it is. So betting on combat sports is it's a very slippery slope and a tricky world because one person can control all the fate. Yep. It's not a team sport, right? If you want to go bet on the Cowboys or the Giants, it's up to multiple people to do what they're supposed to do, or up to multiple people to screw up. And if one person's screwing up, you're out, next guy's in. Where in a fist fight, whether it's boxing or MMA, it's one person can throw it, one person could have a bad night, one person can leak information. It's a wild world. And there were supposed to be all sorts of rules and regulations that came out after the James Krause situation. Nothing changed. They just said fighters aren't allowed to bet anymore. Meanwhile, every fighter has their own individual, like MyBookie or Stake or whatever. They have their own individual, sponsorships, and they give out their own individual picks and stuff. So it is kind of a wild world out there still. I don't think anything nefarious happened with Jared Gordon. No. I think he literally was hit by a car, which is a wild thing to happen. So of course people are going to tweet like, or text each other, "Dude, I'm with Jared. You don't know what just happened." And then, people tell, and then other people like, "Oh shit, the guy was hit. Let me bet." And then that's what happens. I don't think it was anything sneaky, but let us know what you guys think about fighters fighting injured, if they should pull out, and if they do, how do we get them compensated? Because not Jared's fault he was hit by a car, but if you want to be big corporate asshole guy, it's not the UFC's fault either. Like, dude, we pay you to fight. You're not fighting. I'm supposed to pay you? What am I going to do here? So why real tricky situations with the current landscape of you only get paid when you walk in that cage to fight.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Angelo. This is Josh Thompson. Welcome to it. That was another bad takes.
Awkward.
Yeah, what a beautiful, smooth ending. I really nailed that ending.